from We the Hobby. We're hanging out at Fanatics Fest, the first ever Fanatics Fest here in New York City. And we're here with the founder of Collect, Darren Rovell, my good friend from back in the day. Darren,
how you doing?
It's good to see you,
Good
my
to
friend.
see you.
All right, Darren, let's get to the nitty gritty. You're a collector. You're a sports fan. We are here at the first ever Fanatics Fest in New York City. Explain to me the excitement level that comes spewing out of your bones.
Well, it's just so nice to see the demo here from 7-year-olds to 70-year-olds, people just bringing the whole family. And really, I think what Fanatics is trying to do here is cross over. So people who are here for the experiences go to the collectible side. People who are here from the collectible side go to the experiences. We've never really seen anything like this before, so it's hard to define. But I think overall, this is a good thing for people that collect. It's a good thing for sports fans at large.
You've been a collector for quite some time. You've also been in sports for quite some time. Not to say that you're young, but where do you think it goes from here?
I think it just ultimately starts with passion. And although I am very financially motivated in my own collection, what we're trying to do at Collect is basically tell the stories of this hobby, be a cheerleader for this hobby, keep the hobby honest. So I always love the amount of people that are in here. I want people to know, and I implore people to say, why are you motivated? Why are you doing this? If it's breaking, We the Hobby, it's like, okay, why are you doing this? And I try to get to, I like the financial side of it, but I also like the buy what you like. And I try to tell kids that. I try to tell fathers that. Get what you like, because then if it goes up and down, you're still okay. If you're only financially motivated, it's going to be a rough ride.
It's just like the stock market, honestly, right? Like, invest in what you like. And look, maybe that's the answer. I feel like this is like the first stage, like first grade, but like we should be graduating college in X amount of years where the players and like all of us that go to the games are now collecting because they've followed sort of the history of it. Like,
I think the interesting part, and I always have a tough time with this, is playing complete fantasy with cards.
okay,
This is a complex market. It doesn't come down to Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl and wow, you invested in Patrick Mahomes in week 3 and now you're definitely going to win. People have seen in the last couple of years that doesn't work because there's a baked in value to, guess what? The hobby has already determined that Patrick Mahomes is worth 5 Super Bowls. So when he wins his 3rd, it's not like anything's happening. Also, you have to think about populations of cards. Even one of ones, there's a full rainbow. So I like the idea of rooting for players, rooting for them to do well. I also really love dead people because they can't do anything wrong, and I don't worry week to week what's going to happen with Walt Disney or Elvis Presley.
they're not worried either. No. That's funny. Okay, this is your take on the hobby for anyone that's kind of getting into this too, is probably one, find people that you enjoy, teams that you're really like that you've been rooting for, and 2, this is a long game.
Yes, a long game.
Or pick people that are dead.
And I would say, even if you have one player that you like, be diversified. Try to say, okay, well, maybe if magazines go, let's get his CGC 9.8 of his first Sports Illustrated. Let's get his first card. Let's get the first time he appeared on something else. Don't just go all in on cards. Try to get, the whole gamut, and try to find things that are one of one that maybe can be slabbed. PSA slabbing things, I think, has like created more value. And so sometimes you have to think about things that are not traditionally collected and how do you get into it. Frankly, I'm scared when so 5 years ago, you would come to a collecting show and you'd see a guy who would have 50 Luka Doncic's, and that would be like power. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to collect Luka. If one guy has 50, I don't want to be in that industry, right? And so there's also really complex ideas about who is collecting. So collecting those Lucas are more 15 to 20-year-olds than collecting maybe Mickey Mantles, which means that when there's a tough time, those people aren't holding on, which means that that card is going to go down faster than other cards. So I'd like to say it's simple, but it's not.
Curious your take on like the evolution of the card itself, especially with like the patches and like how things are kind of. I mean, these cards are like they're like a Louis Vuitton bag. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because I was, when the first patches were being created, really, 98, 99, 2000. So I was at ESPN starting in 2000, and I would get a box of every single thing. And when I think about, I was the guy who knew about collecting. And when I think about how many things I threw out or gave away, I think it's somewhere, given that 2003 was, LeBron, and then Brady 2000, I think I gave away or threw out in between 10 and 15 million dollars of cards. And I knew what I was talking about.
Darren, what were you thinking?
Because it wasn't, at that time, I still didn't have hope. I did not have a vision that it was going to be like this today.
Oh my God. Have you found any of those cards on the floor?
No.
Oh my God.
And I haven't had any ESPN employee who said, hey, thanks for giving me that back in the day.
Imagine all the desks in
I
Building
bought a house.
4. Oh my God. I bought a house.
Building 4, yeah, the basement
garbage.
of Building 3 and Building
That's
4.
That's where we lived.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Darren. Okay, so wow, we can just burn that memory away. The future. I mean, collect. I mean, let's talk about you've built a whole company off of it.
Yeah, it's time. Like I followed gambling
You've
and
redeemed
gambling.
yourself, Darren.
it's came back. It's time. It's this hobby is billions and billions of dollars, and we have to follow trends, and we have to keep people honest, and we have to tell the great stories. I mean, yesterday here, Grant Williams on his first day of being a collector in basketball cards pulls a Luka rookie, and just to see his excitement. I went into the Nationals locker room and the players collecting themselves and the players wanting their own one-of-ones and reaching out to fans and saying, who got my debut patch? That's cool. So there's just so many stories every day, so many auctions happening that it's I just felt there wasn't enough constant talk about it. And it's funny because people are like, how are you going to have enough to write about every day? And I'm like, we wrote 48 stories in the last 48 hours, so it's pretty crazy.
All by yourself?
Yeah.
You're just
not all by myself. No, we have a couple people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, can you share some highlights here so far?
All right, you share highlights of Collect, or you want highlights of that?
All right, we'll just cut to the chase. Darren brought some goodies that he'd like to share with us. Darren is an avid collector. He's an entrepreneur, obviously, founder of Collect, but Darren has a lot of the oldest
cool stuff. Yeah, I'll show you.
Things.
Right, so we have the oldest collection. Now, I couldn't bring everything. The oldest collection here is...
You didn't bring the Twinkie.
I did not bring the Twinkie. I have a Twinkie from 1976 that is not opened. It's actually in really good condition.
Oh my God.
But we do have the Taco Bell packet. It's got to be sealed from 1985.
Where did you find that? eBay? eBay.
No. 1985 right there. The oldest sealed piece of Juicy Fruit, 2 of them. That's 1923.
The sugar's gone.
And then we have the McDonald's. This is the you got a burger in this from the original McDonald's brothers in California. So that's the oldest McDonald's bag. Wow. So that's a cool little collection.
All eBay.
Okay, now you haven't seen some of this.
I haven't seen this.
I blew a little bit on this. Okay. So this is Elvis's last performance.
What? Market Square Arena.
Yeah, and
Indy.
And you need to have the full Elvis in my mind. There's a bunch of these, but the full Elvis on the ticket is important.
I'll see. Always my favorite.
We have Billy Joel MSG concert number 1.
Wow.
There are only 2 of these known.
What?
I own both. Yeah.
I'm glad you redeemed yourself
Here we
throwing
go.
out all those new, like, the patch cards.
So there's a lot of talk about type 1 photos. I don't know if you've learned about that yet. A type 1 photo is taken from the original negative and published within 2 years of that photo.
Oh,
So
okay.
of taking it.
Okay.
So that's the highest you can get. This was a woman in the Cavern Club in Liverpool in 1961 who took a picture of the Beatles. This is the
I've heard of them.
Yeah, this is the oldest known picture of the four of them. And what's great about it, you could date the Beatles because Pete Best is in the 61 photos. Obviously, Ringo in August 62 took over.
Wow.
One of the most beautiful Walt Disney signatures you can get.
Wow.
This is a pretty cool one. I love Walt Disney. Timeless.
What a beautiful signature also.
Okay, so I think we've gotten to things that you haven't seen yet.
Okay. Wow. Go change the world. Steve Jobs. He's got a Steve Jobs. He's got a Steve Jobs.
Now
note.
there's many stories about how Steve Jobs did not like to sign signatures. He's very difficult. But there are two Go Change the World Steve Jobs, and the other one is owned by Jim Irsay. He paid $787,000 for it.
Dude.
So this is the only other one. So
my gosh.
we got this one, not available for sale. Now,
How many locks do we have on this?
now, the oldest autograph I have is Alexander Hamilton from 1790. But the best signature I have from our founding forefathers is a PSA 9 Jorge Washington. There's George Washington right there with a feather, signing it like a boss.
Like a boss.
2 months before he died.
Good old Georgie.
So did you know what a free franc is?
I don't.
So a free franc from 1783 to 1883, if you wrote a letter to someone, but you didn't want to pay postage, but you knew a dignitary, you'd be like, hey, George, I don't want to pay this cent postage. Can you sign a couple envelopes for me? So
He was the post office.
there
He
you go.
was the postage.
Now, let me see if I brought what okay. This is one of my favorite new
Or
acquisitions.
like a kid in a candy store here, Darren. Okay. What?
It is
WBC?
It is the Tyson Douglas ticket from Japan in 1990.
Oh, no, why?
There's only 4 graded by PSA just in Japan. And I liked how the only thing in English is Don King Productions because, of course, Don King needed to be. Okay, so we have that there. Now, we have an American Express card.
Uh-huh. Oh, Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods American Express card.
Wow.
This is from the Caddyshack commercial in 2005. This is the actual one he used. The producer sold it, and of course, I was like, "This is too good to be true." Okay, okay. This is the only thing I will not sell. I was very close to Kobe Bryant, and he gave me his pass from Beijing in 2008. So this was around his neck in 2008.
Show that off. He gave that to you? That's really cool, Darren. The Beijing Olympics.
We'll not sell it.
Don't sell that.
I was there. I was on his plane home. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. The only sporting when people say like, what sporting event would you want to be at that you weren't because you were not alive? And for me, it is Secretariat, Belmont, 31.5 Lengths Center.
Wow, but you.
So at least we got the ticket.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, these are true one-of-ones.
How long does this take? Like, what was this?
Long time. And sometimes I want to go after. I made a list of 100 tickets that I wanted to get.
Okay.
And sometimes I just see it and know it.
Okay.
So there's a couple fun. I'm going to save. So and then I have a Tiger Woods signed 1997 Masters badge. So we have that.
Amazing.
That's a pretty cool one.
That's really cool.
And then I'm gonna give you a couple. This is the dressing room pass from the first fight that Muhammad Ali fought as Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
So that's a cool one right there. And then I'm gonna give you a serious one and then 3 funny ones.
Okay.
JFK's last meal.
Wow.
So this is the Fort Worth breakfast ticket, and Jackie famously showed up late and they cheered her, and JFK said, feels like you like the first lady more than me. And a lot of people throw out these tickets because they obviously didn't realize that later in the day what would happen. The dinner from that night, the passes from the dinner that night, there are hundreds of them because a lot of people saved them.
Right.
There's only 2 of these, and this one appears to have a potato stain or some sort of grease stain from some bacon.
Yeah.
We have that. Okay, now we're going to close it with 3 funny ones.
Okay.
There's only 1 of these known, and it is my pass, happily, because I was the one who brought the hot dog eating contest to ESPN.
Yes, let's go.
Joey Chestnut debut.
Stop.
Pass.
Yes.
No one will ever have this. The Joey Chestnut debut.
That's. I think that was our first assignment. Like I was out there.
You were doing a hot dog eating.
Classic hot dog eating contest reporter right here.
That's true, and
first
me too.
time I met you.
So, there are times when I do not have a ticket, and on the anniversary of that event, I say I need the ticket, which is a very stupid idea because on the anniversary is when it's worth the most.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I want it.
Fact.
But it's so rare that, so with tickets, you don't realize how big it is until maybe later. So this is the Bobby Knight chair throwing signed by Bobby Knight.
Yes, let's go.
So someone said on Twitter.
Will you hold that up?
Yeah, right
That's
there.
Great.
The Bobby Knight chair throwing. Someone said on Twitter, I won't sell it to you publicly, but then sold it to me behind closed doors. And finally,
drum roll, please.
Serena, what do you think is the most ridiculous thing that ever happened in a baseball game? The most random, ridiculous thing that ever happened in a baseball game?
Randy Johnson hitting a pigeon. I don't know.
Randy Johnson hitting a bird.
Stop! Oh my!
You got it! You got it!
I remember that day. I remember that day well.
Randy hitting the bird signed by Randy.
Yes.
And
he felt terrible.
And what is so crazy about this is, and by the way, I do have the ticket that pairs with it, which is Dave Winfield hitting a seagull. He actually went to jail for that. They brought him to jail in '83 in Toronto.
It's ridiculous.
But anyway,
the seagull press charges.
Both these tickets are, I said, on the day, I need them.
Need it.
Please.
And you got it.
Yeah, and there's only 2 of these known because there were 3,000 people at a spring training game.
Right.
So it started with 3,000.
Oh my God.
And then probably by the end of the night, it was at 5.
Amazing.
And then some guy, thank God, kept it. And I think when Randy signed this, I think it was the only time in his life he laughed.
Wow. For a while, he was like after hitting that pitch, I remember he was like really upset.
And now his like photo company is like Bird Production or something like that. Yeah,
I freaking love it,
so
Darren.
That's that.
You brought the heat today.
And you can have my business card. 1986, Don Russ.
Classic.
Classic. Me when I was 10 years old.
Genius business card idea, actually.
Right
All
there.
right. Well.
Now, unfortunately, the hair didn't fit in the photo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, Darren Rovell in all your glory, founder of Collect, hanging out here with We the Hobby. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He brought the heat.
I brought it, but you know what? I'm very happy that, because that's going to be a great little cut up. I'm very happy that you got the Randy Johnson.
I did. I got that. show that Mama got her sports knowledge. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Rick.
All right.
Appreciate it. That's so cool, Darren. I love it.